Good morning. I hope all of you are going really well today. And it's my prayer that Father God is blessing each and every one of you in your lives and in your walk with Him. Today I'm going to read from the book of Jubilees, chapter 14 through to and including chapter 18. Chapter 14. After these things, in the 4th year of this week, on the new moon of the 3rd month, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a dream, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am your defender, and your reward will be very great. He said, Lord, Lord, what will you give me, seeing I go from here childless, and the son of Mesech, the son of my handmaid, Eliezer of Damascus, he will be my heir, and to me you have given no offspring. He said to him, This man will not be your heir, but one that will come out of your own bowels, he will be your heir. And he brought him out abroad, and said to him, Look toward heaven, and number the stars, if you are able to number them. He looked toward heaven, and beheld the stars, and he said to him, So shall your offspring be. And he believed in the Lord, and it was counted to him as righteousness. God said to him, I am the Lord that brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give you the land of the Canaanites, to possess it forever. And I will be God to you, and to your offspring after you. He said, Lord, Lord, how shall I know that I shall inherit it? God said to him, Take me a heifer of 3 years, and a goat of 3 years, and a sheep of 3 years, and a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And he took all these in the middle of the month, and he dwelt at the oak of Mamre, which is near Hebron. He built an altar there, and sacrificed all these. He poured their blood on the altar, and divided them in half, and laid them over against each other. But the birds he did not divide. Birds came down on the pieces, and Abram drove them away, and did not permit the birds to touch them. It happened when the sun had set, that an ecstasy fell on Abram, and such a horror of great darkness fell on him. And it was said to Abram, Know of a surety that your offspring shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall be brought into bondage, and afflicted for 400 years. The nation also to whom they will be in bondage will I judge, and after that they shall come out from that place with many possessions. You will go to your fathers in peace, and be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And he awoke from his sleep, and he arose, and the sun had set, and there was a flame, and a furnace was smoking, and a flame of fire passed between the pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, To your offspring will I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Perizzites, and the Rephaim, the Phacharites, and the Hivites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. The day passed, and Abram offered the pieces, and the birds, and their fruit offerings, and their drink offerings, and the fire devoured them. On that day we made a covenant with Abram. In the same way we had covenanted with Noah in this month. And Abram renewed the festival and laws for himself forever. Abram rejoiced and made all these things known to Sarai his wife. He believed that he would have offspring, but she did not bear. Sarai advised her husband Abram and said to him, Go in to Hagar my Egyptian maid. It may be that I shall build up offspring to you by her. Abram listened to the voice of Sarai his wife and said to her, Do so. And Sarai took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, and gave her to Abram, her husband, to be his wife. He went in to her, and she conceived and gave birth to a son, and he called his name Ishmael, in the 5th year of this week, and this was the 86th year in the life of Abram. Chapter 15. In the 5th year of the 4th week of this Jubilee, in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, Abram celebrated the feast of the first fruits of the grain harvest, and he made new offerings on the altar, the first fruits of the produce to the Lord, a heifer and a goat, and a sheep on the altar as a burnt sacrifice to the Lord. Their fruit offerings and their drink offerings he offered on the altar with frankincense. the Lord appeared to Abram and said to him, I am God Almighty. Examine yourself and demonstrate yourself before me and be perfect. I will make my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you greatly. Abraham fell on his face, and God talked with him and said, My law is with you, and you will be the father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Abram, but your name from now on, even forever, shall be Abraham, for I have made you the father of many nations. I will make you very great, and I will make you into nations, and kings shall come forth from you. I shall establish my covenant between me and you, and your offspring after you, throughout the generations for an eternal covenant, so that I may be a God to you, and to your offspring after you. You may possess the land where you have been a sojourner, the land of Canaan, and you will possess it forever, and I will be their God. The Lord said to Abraham, Keep my covenant, you and your offspring after you, and circumcise every male among you, and circumcise your foreskins, and it shall be a token of an eternal covenant between me and you. And the 8th day you shall circumcise the child, every male throughout your generations, him that is born in the house, or whom you have bought with money from any stranger, whom you have acquired, who is not of your offspring. He that is born in your house shall surely be circumcised, and those whom you have bought with money shall be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an eternal ordinance. The uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin on the 8th day, that soul shall be cut off from his people, for he has broken my covenant. God said to Abraham, As for Sarai your wife, her name shall be no more be called Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. I will bless her, and give you a son by her, and I will bless him, and he shall become a nation, and a king of nations shall proceed from him. Abraham fell on his face, and rejoiced, and said in his heart, Shall a son be born to him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bring forth? Abraham said to God, O that Ishmael might live before you. God said, Yea, and Sarah also shall bear you a son, and you will call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him, an everlasting covenant, and for his offspring after him. And as for Ishmael, also have I heard you, and behold, I will bless him, and make him great, and multiply him greatly, and he shall beget 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, whom Sarah shall bear to you this time next year. God ceased speaking with him, and God went up from Abraham. Abraham did according as God had said to him, and he took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and whom he had bought with his money, every male in his house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin. On that same day was Abraham circumcised, and all the men of his house, and all those whom he had bought with money from the children of the stranger were circumcised with him. This law is for all the generations forever, and there is no variance of days, and no omission of one day out of the 8 days, for it is an eternal law, ordained and written on the heavenly tablets. Every one that is born, the flesh of whose foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day, does not belong to the children of the covenant which the Lord made with Abraham, but instead they belong to the children of destruction, nor is there any other sign on him that he is the Lord's. But he is destined to be destroyed and killed from the earth, and to be rooted out of the earth, for he has broken the covenant of the Lord our God. All the angels of the presence of the Lord, and all the angels of sanctification, have been created already circumcised from the day of their creation, and before the angels of the presence of the Lord, and the angels of sanctification, he has sanctified Israel, that they should be with him, and with his holy angels. Command the children of Israel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant, for their generations as an eternal law, and they will not be rooted out of the land, for the command is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever among all the children of Israel. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, the Lord did not cause them to come to him, and he did not choose them. Although they are the children of Abraham, he knew them, but he chose Israel to be his people. He sanctified them and gathered them from among all the children of men. For there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his, and over all nations he has placed spirits in authority, to lead them astray from him. But over Israel he did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler, and he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his angels, and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them, and bless them, that they may be his, and he may be theirs from now on forever. I announce to you that the children of Israel will not keep true to this law, and they will not circumcise their sons according to all this law. For in the flesh of their circumcision they will omit this circumcision of their sons, and all of the sons of Beliar will leave their sons uncircumcised as they were born. There will be great wrath from the Lord against the children of Israel, because they have forsaken his covenant, and turned aside from his word, and provoked God, and blasphemed, because they do not observe the ordinance of this law, for they have treated their genitalia like the Gentiles, so that they may be removed and rooted out of the land, and there will no more be pardon or forgiveness to them for all the sin of this eternal error. Chapter 16. On the new moon of the 4th month, we appeared to Abraham at the oak of Mamre, and we talked with him, and we announced to him that Sarah, his wife, would give him a son. And Sarah laughed, for she heard that we had spoken these words to Abraham. We warned her, and she became afraid, and denied that she had laughed because of the words. We told her the name of her son, as his name is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets, and it is Isaac. We told her that when we returned to her at a set time, she would have conceived a son. In this month the Lord executed his judgments on Sodom and Gomorrah, and Zeboim and all the region of the Jordan, and he burned them with fire and brimstone, and destroyed them, and they are destroyed until this day, because of all their works. They are wicked and vast sinners, and they defile themselves and commit fornication in their flesh, and work uncleanness on the earth, as I have told you. In like manner God will execute judgment on the places where they have done similar to the uncleanness of the Sodomites, and they will suffer a judgment like that of Sodom. But for Lot we made an exception, for God remembered Abraham, and sent him out from the place of the overthrow. And he and his daughters committed sin on the earth, such as had not been on the earth since the days of Adam until his time, for the man had sex with his daughters. It was commanded and engraved concerning all his offspring on the heavenly tablets to remove them and root them out, and to execute judgment on them, like the judgment of Sodom, and to leave no offspring of that man on earth on the day of condemnation. In this month Abraham moved from Hebron, and departed and lived between Kadesh and Shur, in the mountains of Gerar. In the middle of the 5th month he moved from that place, and I lived at the well of the oath. In the middle of the 6th month the Lord visited Sarah, and did to her as he had spoken, and she conceived. And she gave birth to a son in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, at the time of which the Lord had spoken to Abraham. On the festival of the firstfruits of the harvest Isaac was born. Abraham circumcised his son on the 8th day. He was the first that was circumcised according to the covenant that is ordained forever. In the 6th year of the 4th week, we came to Abraham at the well of the oath, and we appeared to him. We returned in the 7th month, and found Sarah with child before us. And we blessed him, and we announced to him all the things that had been decreed concerning him, so that he should not die until he should beget 6 more sons, and saw them before he died. But in Isaac should his name and offspring be called, and that all the offspring of his sons should be Gentiles, and be counted with the Gentiles. But from the sons of Isaac one should become a holy offspring, and should not be counted among the Gentiles. For he should become the portion, dowry of the Most High, and all his offspring had fallen into the possession of God, that they should be to the Lord a people for his possession, above all nations, and that they should become a kingdom and priests and a holy nation. We went our way, and we announced to Sarah all that we had told him, and they both rejoiced with very great joy. He built there an altar to the Lord, who had delivered him, and who was causing him to rejoice in the land of his sojourning. And he celebrated a festival of joy in this month for 7 days, near the altar which he had built at the well of the oath. He built tents for himself and for his servants on this festival, and he was the first to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles on the earth. During these 7 days, he brought a burnt offering to the Lord, each day to the altar, consisting of 2 oxen, 2 rams, 7 sheep, 1 male goat for a sin offering, that he might atone thereby for himself and for his offspring. As an offering of thanks, he brought 7 rams, 7 kids, 7 sheep, and 7 male goats, and their fruit offerings and their drink offerings, and he burnt all the fat of it on the altar, a chosen offering to the Lord for a sweet-smelling odour. Morning and evening he burnt fragrant substances, frankincense and incense, and sweet spice, and nard and myrrh, and spice and aromatic plants. All these 7 he offered, crushed, mixed together in equal parts, and pure. And he celebrated his feast during 7 days, rejoiced with all his heart and with all his soul, he and all those who were in his house, and there was no stranger with him, nor any that was uncircumcised. He blessed his Creator who had created him in his generation, for he had created him according to his good pleasure. God knew and perceived that from him would arise the plant of righteousness for the eternal generations, and from him a holy offspring, so that it should become like him who had made all things. He blessed and rejoiced, and he called the name of this festival, the festival of the Lord, a joy acceptable to the Most High God. And we blessed him forever, and all his offspring after him throughout all the generations of the earth, because he celebrated his festival in its season, according to the testimony of the heavenly tablets. For this reason it is ordained on the heavenly tablets concerning Israel, that they shall celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days with joy, in the 7th month, acceptable before the Lord as a statute forever, throughout their generations every year. To this there is no limit of days, for it is ordained forever regarding Israel that they should celebrate it, and dwell in tents, and set wreaths on their heads, and take leafy boughs and willows from the brook. Abraham took branches of palm trees, and the fruit of good and pleasing trees, and every day going round the altar with the branches, 7 times a day in the morning, he praised and gave thanks to his God for all things in joy. Chapter 17. In the 1st year of the 5th week, Isaac was weaned in this Jubilee, and Abraham made a great banquet in the 3rd month, on the day his son Isaac was weaned. Ishmael, the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, was in front of Abraham, his father, in his place, and Abraham rejoiced and blessed God, because he had seen his sons and had not died childless. He remembered the words which he had spoken to him on the day that Lot had departed from him, and he rejoiced because the Lord had given him offspring on the earth to inherit the earth, and he blessed with all his mouth the Creator of all things. Sarah saw Ishmael playing and dancing, and Abraham rejoicing with great joy, and she became jealous of Ishmael and said to Abraham, "Throw out this bondwoman and her son. The son of this bondwoman will not be heir with my son Isaac." And the situation was troubling to Abraham because of his maidservant and because of his son, because he did not want to drive them from him. God said to Abraham, "Let it not be troubling in your sight because of the child and because of the bondwoman. Listen to Sarah and to all her words, and do them, for in Isaac shall your name and offspring be called. But as for the son of this bondwoman, I will make him a great nation, because he is of your offspring." Abraham got up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water, and placed them on the shoulders of Hagar and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba, and the water in the bottle was spent, and the child was thirsty, and was not able to go on, and fell down. His mother took him and laid him under an olive tree, and went and sat her down over away from him at the distance of a bowshot, for she said, "Let me not see the death of my child." And she sat and wept. An angel of God, one of the holy ones, said to her, "Why do you weep, Hagar? Stand, take the child, and hold him in your hand, for God has heard your voice and has seen the child." She opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled her bottle with water, and she gave her child a drink. And she arose and went towards the wilderness of Paran. And the child grew and became an archer, and God was with him, and his mother took him a wife from among the daughters of Egypt. She, the wife, gave birth to a son, and he called his name Nebaioth, for she said, "The Lord was close to me when I called on him." In the 7th week, in the 1st year of it, in the 1st month in this Jubilee, on the 12th of this month, there were voices in heaven regarding Abraham, that he was faithful in all that he told him, and that he loved the Lord, and that in every affliction he was faithful. Prince Mastema came and said before God, "Look, Abraham loves Isaac his son, and he delights in him above all things. Tell him to offer him as a burnt offering on the altar, and you will see if he will do this command, and you will know if he is faithful in every way that you test him." The Lord knew that Abraham was faithful throughout all his afflictions, for he had tried him through his country and with famine, and had tried him with the wealth of kings, and had tried him again through his wife, when she was torn from him, and with circumcision, and had tried him through Ishmael and Hagar, his maidservant, when he sent them away. In everything that he had tried him, he was found faithful, and his soul was not impatient, and he was not slow to act, because he was faithful and a lover of the Lord. Chapter 18. God said to him, "Abraham, Abraham," and he said, "Look, here am I." He said, "Take your beloved son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the high country, and offer him on one of the mountains which I will point out to you." He got early in the morning, and saddled his donkey, and took 2 young men with him, and Isaac his son, and split the wood of the burnt offering. And he went to the place on the 3rd day, and he saw the place afar off. He came to a well of water near Mount Moriah, and he said to his young men, "You stay here with the donkey, and I and the lad shall go yonder, and when we have worshipped, we shall come back to you." He took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it on Isaac his son, and he took the fire and the knife, and they went both of them together to that place. Isaac said to his father, "Father," and he said, "Here am I, my son." He said to him, "Look, we have the fire and the knife and the wood, but where is the sheep for the burnt offering, father?" He said, "God will provide for himself a sheep for a burnt offering, my son." And he neared the place of the mountain of God. He built an altar, and he placed the wood on the altar, and bound Isaac his son, and placed him on the wood that was on the altar, and stretched out his hand to take the knife to kill Isaac his son. I stood in the presence of him, and before Prince Mastema, and the holy angels stood, and wept over the altar, as Prince Mastema and his angels rejoiced, and said, "Isaac will be destroyed, and we will see if Abraham is faithful." And the Lord said, "Command him not to lay his hand on the lad, nor to do anything to him, for I have shown that he fears the Lord." I called to him from heaven and said to him, "Abraham, Abraham," and he was terrified and said, "Here am I." I said to him, "Lay not your hand on the lad, neither do anything to him, for now I have shown that you fear the Lord, and have not withheld your son, your firstborn son, from me." Prince Mastema was put to shame, and was bound by the angels. And Abraham lifted up his eyes, and looked, and saw a ram caught by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram, and offered it as a burnt offering in place of his son. Abraham called that place, "The Lord has seen," so that it is said, "The Lord has seen. This is Mount Zion." The Lord called Abraham by his name a second time from heaven, as he caused us to appear to speak to him in the name of the Lord. He said, "By myself have I sworn," said the Lord, "because you have done this thing, and I have not withheld your son, your beloved son, from me, that in blessing I will bless you, and in multiplying I will multiply your offspring as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is in the seashore. Your offspring shall inherit the cities of its enemies, and in your offspring shall all nations of the earth be blessed. Because you have obeyed my voice, and I have shown to all that you are faithful to me in all that I have said to you, go in peace. Abraham went back to his young men, and they stood and went back together to Beersheba, and Abraham lived by the well of the oath. And he celebrated this festival every year, 7 days with joy. And he called it the festival of the Lord, according to the 7 days during which he went and returned in peace. Accordingly, it has been ordained and written on the heavenly tablets regarding Israel and its children, that they should observe this festival 7 days with the joy of festival. Yeah, so that concludes my reading today of the book of Jubilees, chapter 14 through to and including chapter 18. And next time I read from the book of Jubilees, I'll begin at chapter 19. So God bless each and every one of you. I hope all of you have a brilliant day.